Hey and welcome, msKIRAspeaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We're back again for another episode of Marriage Boot Camp, Hip Hop Edition, Season 19, Episode 2, That's a Wrap. Quick apologies for that 2-week break your girl had to take. And now my child is giving everybody a cold. But we gon' keep it pushing and get this thing started. So the episode picks up exactly where we left off in episode 1. Dr. Ish is trying to talk some sense into Lyrica and A1. He reminds them that it's day 1. You're not going to fix everything in one night. He gets them to agree that they're good for the night to go through till tomorrow. In her confessional, Lyrica says A1 always runs from facing things, anything to avoid having to face the truth. And it's day 2, resentment. Mariahlynne and Rich, they're complaining about how small their room is. And who knew that Rich was 6'5"? Certainly not I. So Caston, he doesn't really want to participate, so I don't know why he came on the show. You know who your partner is. You know what the object of the show, like, why are we even going through all this? Just why? So much so that the producer has to come in and get them to go downstairs for breakfast. Kay says she wants answers, and so they finally go downstairs. But honestly, they're one of the couples that, are you there for a check? Because the delusion is just real, and we'll get into it throughout the episode. So A1, he stays in his room to do some work, I'm assuming. And when Emmett comes in to offer some water, Kay tells GB she should marry him. Boo says, but they talk so much trash to each other. Kay asks if the family likes him. They do, but things got complicated with his kids and his mom. No boundaries. They go on dates and his phone is constantly going off. She says he also puts the kids in their business too much. When you tell your family stuff about arguments, sometimes they can't unsee it, and that is so true. She doesn't want him to make people comfortable with disrespecting her, and that's absolute facts. Getting family and friends in your business can be tricky because sometimes you get over it and they don't. But no one's kids should get comfortable with disrespecting anybody. Now that's just too much. So A1, he finally comes down. He tells Rich he hasn't heard a word with Lyrica since last night. And Rich is kind of saying, like, why would you, I think he said in the confessional, like, why would you come all this way to abandon boot camp on the first night? And Rich, for once, has a point. So Judge and Ish, they're watching, of course, and they say they may need more than one day to deal with resentment because this group has a lot. So Ish comes in, he heads them all outside to start their day. We got the men on one side and the ladies on the other. GB says she sees that stage, so she knows it's about to be a rap battle and she's going to kill it. So Dr. Ish, he wants them to think about the most pressing issues in their relationships: infidelity, money, sex, and trust. The things that you resent your partner for. They'll take the topic and write a rhyme dealing with at least 3 of the issues in their relationship. Then they'll face off against their partner in an old school rap battle. They do this every season. Ish says it's not about the content, it's about your skill level. So Dr. Ish, he goes over and he jokes with Cass and he's like, hey, I know they don't teach you this in dentistry school. He says it's his time to shine. Folks don't think dentists can rap. Kay's like, but you can't. Womp womp. So Gangsta Boo and Emmett are up first, and I'm not going to go line for line because your girl don't really flow like that. But besides, that would just be too long doing everybody's individual raps. What they did give us is they gave us the key words to focus on in red. So for GB, she says that he never listens to her, he's running from problems, tell your mama to put some respect on my name, and she's sick of all the shouting. For Emmett, they never move forward. At times they don't communicate. Anger builds, and how many dumb fights I just can't count. And he ends with, and I hope we make it on NBC. Threw that one in for y'all. So in the confessional, he says a lot of times he doesn't even remember what they're fighting about. And she's like, that's because you be high. He's like, you smoke just as much as I do. She's like, yeah, but I can remember my raps. And in the middle of talking, she totally forgets what they're talking about. She's like, never mind, you got a point. So they go over the key points with Dr. Ish. GB, she wants Emmett to set boundaries when it comes to his family, and Emmett resents her for the fighting. Overall, they did pretty good, but both of them, they rap by craft, so we kind of expected that. Kay, Michelle, and Caston are up next. For Caston, he brings out interrogated, no peace, makes sure it's all facts, quick to believe some BS, and all men aren't wrong. Dr. Ish says that's very specific for a general dentist. His flow was but he got his point across. For Kay, she says, makes me feel sad. I need a ring. Kids, you keep playing like the cookies whack and keep your ish together. I mean, she was just going in on him, and it's kind of the delusion of it all for me, because for Kay, it's kind of like just insert the man into the fairy tale. And it's like, is she really there specifically for him? Probably not. And of course, she sounded better than he did because she sings. So, she can get it together. So Dr. Ish, he points out that Kay's lyrics represent the fairy tale being destroyed, and Caston resents Kay for her style of communication. We're 2 for 2 with the women on communication, and I am not taking up for the men. Trust and believe. But sometimes that is a thing that we all can work on. Communication and delivery. I think that's a larger part of, maybe, I don't know about, I'm trying to think, Gangsta Boo. Yeah, it's the delivery. Anywho, Mariahlynne and Rich Dollars are up next, and in the confessional, Mariah says he has an ear for music, but he doesn't have a mouth for it. So Mariahlynne is up, and hers are no TLC. He's a grade A creep. He embarrassed her, and they need to figure out if they love each other. For Rich, it's 10 years. They still don't know. Thinking about her being honest, getting over that, trust, and staying real. Rich missed me with the BS. And Mariahlynne, she was not wrong. He got the ear for music, but that flow, ugh. Anyway, Dr. Ish says Rich resents Mariahlynne for lying to him. Lying about what, Rich? What relationship are y'all really in, and what is she lying about? Mariahlynne wants Rich to make her a priority, and in the confessional, K. Michelle says, which this was me, child. She says she owes no man an explanation that isn't claiming her and that she isn't committed to, and amen. And K. Michelle's like, if I say the sky is green at 3 p.m., it just is what it is. And I mean, it was silly, but I wasn't mad at her, because these men, they don't want to claim you, but they want all the benefits and all the things that go along with it. No, it doesn't work like that. So last is Lyrica and A1. For Lyrica, it's cheating, misleading, needs me, showing me the worst of you. For A1, it's ride together, try together, divide, trust, lost us, play tit for tat, angry, and I need you. And everyone went up for A1's lyrics, even Dr. Ish. And I must say, these two didn't do too bad, but again, these are 2 people that are songwriters in the music industry. In the confessional, Lyrica says the battle was cute and all, but they've had the same conversations over and over. What's going to be different? So you can butter me up and I take you back to do it all over again. Lyrica is very sunshine innocent, heard it all before, and I cannot blame her. And A1 is like I said, everybody else went up for it, but Lyrica's like, you've been doing this conversation wise, and I'm sure he's written songs for her before, and she is over it. She wants actions, not words. Dr. Ish says today wasn't about the rhymes. They have issues that they resent each other for, and when you let resentment fester, it's like a poison coursing through the veins of your relationship. Not dealing with it chips away at the foundation till there's nothing left. So they take a break until dinner later. So we head into the kitchen. There's Mariahlynne, there's Rich, there's Lyrica, there's A1, Emmett, and Gangsta Boo. So GB, she jokes with Rich saying he sounds like Jay-Z. And Mariahlynne says she's happy that she got some conversation out of him because they have trust issues. And it sounds like these two don't even talk or communicate. So I'm like happy to get conversation out of this man. So is it just about the sex? Like if y'all are effing, then just say so, because this is too much. Meanwhile, K. Michelle and Caston are in the room resting. Dr. Ish is watching and says the drills are only a small part of the experience. We've seen the show. We all are well aware of this. He says he needs them to do the second half, which is the heavy lifting of going out with their fellow boot campers and talking about what they feel. Have they not seen the show? Lyrica wasn't expecting A1 to say something about raising Ocean together, which, okay, girl. Where there is embarrassment, let there be praise. A1 in his confessional says they're not listening to each other. It seemed more like he wasn't listening to her, but I'm gonna let him have that one. Nothing he says matters. She just cares about how she's being viewed, and he's just gonna quit. He says he's not talking. What are they really doing there? So A1 and Lyrica, they go their separate ways, and Dr. Ish says at the heart of it, they just have a trust problem. He eroded it and she doesn't know how to get it back. Lyrica may not recognize that he messed up, and it's up to her to forgive him and move forward, and that will give her total control over the relationship. The challenge for them is to get his behavior to be consistent enough for her to open up and let it in. So Mariahlynne and Rich, they're back in their room now. They're being forced to interact with each other. Bullshit, fake relationship, here for a check, which isn't their norm, and they're exhausted. Only Lola and Emmett are in the kitchen. Emmett's like, it's a communal experience. Where's the community? Judge and Ish, they're watching it all unfold. And after some time, I'm not sure if it was 2 hours. I was trying to keep track of the time on the TV. But since nobody else is around, GB and Emmett, they go on back to their rooms. So Dr. Ish is like, this is a fragile group of folks as far as criticism. And Judge says that they're scared to look bad, so they say nothing. They're basically hiding in a room like a bunch of children. They can't get past the issues they came there for if they're hiding in the room avoiding the issues. So it's all boot campers to the back patio, and everybody's dressed nicely for dinner. The table looks beautiful. Everything is laid out nicely. Earlier, they identified their areas of resentment, and now it's time to determine who should take the heat for each issue. So Emmett and Gangsta Boo are up first, and they go over to a separate little table. Dr. Ish will present an entree that represents a topic mentioned in their raps, something one resents about the other. They will discuss the topic, why it causes resentment in their relationship, and then one of them must accept responsibility for it. They will do that by quite literally eating their words. And I was like, are they going to eat paper? I was being silly, y'all. No, they're not going to eat paper. So the word that they get is lack of boundaries. And it's represented by spicy curry, and it's one of GB's lyrics. Emmett admits with his family he doesn't always draw the line, and it hurts GB. So Ish is like, I think this is on both of you to own it. And they do, and they eat it, and it's just too spicy. So it's classic behavioral modification. Child, I pass. I took some psych classes. I will pass. The quickest way to change behaviors and get the boot campers to think before they speak is by pairing a negative emotional stimulus with an even more unwanted physical response. So Dr. Ish tells Emmett that when it's Lola's time, she wants him present for her. And when it's time for your mom, she has to respect your boundaries and let you be with your mom. GB admits that she is jealous of others receiving his attention, whether it be his mama or his doggone dog. Therapy. So Kay, Michelle, and Caston are up next, and the words are dreams destroyed. And we have habanero peppers. Dr. Ish asks who's responsible. Kay says he is. She wanted someone who's going to love her for who she is, and that's been him since high school. He's supposed to come in and be Romeo. Why can't he just be Caston? Is that not good enough? Caston answers no. And then Kay's basically like, he doesn't try, and they go back and forth, and Dr. Ish says the fairy tale has to be for the both of them. He says there's stuff that he hasn't grown into, and there's things that she hasn't done. They both destroyed the fairy tale for each other, and they both are to take a bite. Child, I could not do it. I don't do spicy to begin with, y'all. Please don't take my black car away. In her confessional, Kay admits that she never asked Caston his fairy tale because she already had hers planned. She feels like he resents his career. I don't know about that, but had her own fairy tale planned before, like I said earlier. Insert man into her fairy tale, make it work. But he ain't making it work. Up next are Mariahlynne and Rich Dollars. Their word is public image, represented by Thai chili peppers. Who is responsible? This is one of Mariahlynne's lyrics. She says his public self is very different than when he's alone behind closed doors. His public image is that of a playboy, and she doesn't want to share. He says he's never cheated. She says he's done things to make her feel small. And if he's willing to change, then she's willing to change also. Dr. Ish asks if he has to go first. She says she's went first so many times that it's his turn. She will ride for him till the wheels fall off, but if he doesn't do the same, she's got to get the F out the car and walk. And she doesn't like to walk, and I can hear that. Dr. Ish says it sounds like it's on Rich, and Rich is slick at the mouth, and Mariahlynne tells him to sacrifice. He takes a bite, and it's hot, and she apologizes, and I have to make a revision on what I said earlier. Mariah girl, leave. Just leave. Get some therapy and move on. Because what you're not going to be doing is loving on me in private and acting like you don't know me or treating me crazy in public. It's just no. So last up are Lyrica and A1. A1 has a spicy food allergy. Their word is forgiveness, and the dish is balut, which is a fertilized chicken egg. Ew. So Lyrica says she won't be eating that. She says fair game means faithfulness. It was A1's lyric, and he says that she needs to work on it. He doesn't want to hear about his wrongs every day. That doesn't help. He feels like a failure. It's someplace he doesn't want to go back to. So Lyrica makes a snide comment like, oh, was you feeling like a failure when you was doing what you was doing? And Dr. Ish has some conversation with her as to, what she means by that. And he tells her that she's not in the place to forgive right now because she feels that forgiving is giving him a pass. And I tend to agree. The irony is the forgiveness will free you. Holding on to anger, embarrassment, shame, hurt, that keeps you in jail. And she says she does. Ish says if it were true forgiveness, that the feeling would not still be there. It's not about saying the words. It's about experiencing the feeling and the freedom it gives you. So Dr. Ish says they'll both have a little balut. And it looks disgusting. And A1 says it stinks. And he takes it down with, I couldn't tell if it was whatever he was drinking or if it was liquor. I hope that it was liquor, I think. And Lyrica looked like she wanted to throw up, and I felt her pain because I did too. And she taps out and doesn't partake. And basically Ish was like, he can't make her do what she don't want to do. So resentment is often called the cancer of relationship. It sneaks up slowly, but over time, the frustration builds till the relationship is at its breaking point. Taking responsibility is painful, but is the first step in getting the resentment out. And here comes Judge Toller. And she comes out, she's like, my position, my position, my position, my position. And she says they're so focused on their position that they're not going to listen. Everyone was listening to the people in the front, but the people in front were not listening to the people that they were speaking to. They weren't listening to one another. And if we don't hear what the other person said, then we don't get anywhere. She says that there is no conversation amongst the dudes about what's going on at their house, no conversations amongst the ladies about what they got to do. And Judge says she got up at 10 a.m. and watched them sit in their room, and that 50% of the experience is communicating with other couples. Are you going to show up completely for the experience? She gets paid either way, but she hates to waste her day. After she leaves in her confessional, K. Michelle says it bothered her that Judge felt like she wasted her day. So later in the room, she sends Caston to get Mariahlynne. Some of the things she said reminded her of herself when she covered up her intelligence out of insecurity. And, she's, talking sex rather than using her brain. So outside, she has that conversation with her, and I just, okay. But she was basically, I'm trying to think what she was saying because I didn't even take notes on it. Like, I took it all in, but I didn't take notes on it. She was saying something about being a bad bee and like, you don't got to tell him you're a bad bee. Basically, your success will speak for you. And it was right words, wrong person. But Mariahlynne says she respects K. Michelle and she says she's learning. So great. So Gangsta Boo wants to talk to K. Michelle. K says that GB doesn't let her speak. They had a falling out as friends, and K says she's still not settled on it, but there's something that still connects them. And they quickly showed us a headline where GB got K caught up in her gangsta-ish. But they were having some conversation, and we get little pieces, and it was kind of confusing. And Lola, Gangsta Boo, whatever it is you want to call her, was saying that the people that she put Kay in connection with, Kay was basically still running her mouth to her peoples, long story short. But Kay says that GB is acting differently, and back in the room with Caston, he asked what was that? And I hate when they do the editing like that. I'm like, did we miss something, or did I just not hear it? I mean, I watched it twice, but it is what it is. So Kay says she came to work on things with Caston and not to get things right with other people. So Lola, she starts looking for Kay, and Kay knocks on Lyrica and A1's door, ironically, and she goes in there to hide. But GB, she's right behind her darn near. And she tells Kay she feels bad because when she comes in the room, they're pretending to have this conversation about her having kids. And so she feels like she really interrupted something. And then she's like, I only saw you on TV, but you're so pretty. Your skin is flawless. And I'm assuming she was talking to Lyrica. So Kay calls it awkward, and Kay tries to have a conversation. They were all trying to have a conversation. Lyrica trying to get Gangsta Boo to move from sitting on her bed. Kay presents she want to have this conversation with A1 about something he supposedly said, but she's just making up stuff because she wants to get out the room and get away from GB. Lyrica is trying to get them to sit there and talk, and Kay, she finally takes A1 into the room. In the confessional, Lyrica says that he doesn't have the best track record. He shouldn't even look like he's going to go in another room and talk, amongst them. It doesn't look good. And all we hear is Kay saying that GB is out of control and that she keeps attacking her, and Kay goes and hides, but it's really just Lyrica that is looking for A1. In her confessional, she's not happy, and she says he's in the doghouse right now, and that is where we end. And I don't like when they cut things like that. What was GB doing? Because we really didn't get to see. She may have been drinking or high, but I didn't really see half of the stuff that they claim they were talking about. Like I said, I watched it twice, and I understand where Lyrica is coming from, but at the same time, I'm sure K. Michelle doesn't want anything to do with A1. I'm surprised that they're even getting along this well at this point. Anyway, this went way too long, so hopefully I can edit this puppy down. What are your thoughts on the episode? Please drop them down in the comments. Episode 3 and 4 are out already, and I'm going to try to get episode 3 up before I head back to work on Monday. Wish me luck. So I hope you'll come back and join me for that review. Keep your notifications on. If you have made it this far, put that pepper emoji down in the comments for all the hot food that they had to eat in this episode. While you're here, please check out some of our other content. Thank you. And before you go, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Peace.